make music, we want to get results fast. It's not like it was back in the days where there were record companies and advances and money just easily to be made. That's not how it works nowadays. So you want results fast. That means that you have to multitask and combine a few things together. That also means that you want to be as convenient as you can. And when it comes to DAWless performing, the best thing to do is not to have a big setup. I keep saying it all the time, but I'm also guilty of doing it. Well, today we're going to do 2-box techno. You heard it, and that's today's video. You ready for it? Let's go and do it right now. Hey, what's up, I'm in Kitchen, and thank you for checking out yet another video. Now, if this is your first time here, don't hesitate to click subscribe and hit that notification bell. Whenever I upload a new video, you'll be kept in the loop and you'll not miss out on anything. Stick around till the end of this video. I'll tell you all about our community, which you can find on patreon.com/kitchen, and which in turn is bridged to Discord. As I said in the intro, we want results fast. Now, I am going to make techno music. I love it. I've been loving it since the early days because for me, there were only two kinds of electronic music. That was techno and that was house music. It was that simple. Techno is more of a driving force, more of a technological approach to making music. Making music in itself is very difficult because the rule of thumb is that you need a band to create music. That's what most people think. Now, if you want to be the band on your own, a pitfall might be that you buy a lot of equipment if you want to do the electronic live DAWless route, right? So can you now be that band, be that concise on one side, but also be very convincing with only 2 boxes? I think you can. And it was climbing out of my comfort zone and doing stuff a little bit differently, but I created a really cool techno set with only the Octatrack Mark II that I have and the Typhon. Now, why are they such a great match? Well, for one, they've got complementary functionalities, where the Octatrack is more of a sample mangler, being the, audio manipulator. The Typhon is more of a box that handles sound quality well. It's a synthesizer on which you can easily create sound. So if you want to do something live, people will actually see you doing stuff live, as opposed with an MPC where you program stuff ahead of time and you play the sequences in sequence, which is cool. But if you want to do a little bit more live, this might be the setup for you. As I said, both of these instruments, they have stuff that's ideal for live performing. So with the Typhon, you get to results fast. If you tweak the oscillators, it's built in such a sense that sometimes you'll lose the sound or you just can't get to what you want fast, but that's also a bit of the excitement when you perform live. And the Octatrack obviously has got different approaches. I think it's a box for everyone. When you look at the music industry, everybody wants to get there fast. Now, there is a learning curve with both these machines, right? You have to just really take some time to get to know them and get your own sort of sound going with them. But it's not like with other boxes where you have to first do what everybody else does in order to find that little bit of a, hidden feature that nobody uses. These machines are so versatile that from the get-go you start to work on your own sound, on your own little specific characteristic signature sound. That's what you need in order for you to stand out, which is what you need in order for you to stand out. Now, I love both boxes. I'm not going to go way deep into them. I'm just going to make music with them. Now, I am a hybrid producer. I've said it many a time. That means I will prepare my samples beforehand. I will look at what I can create in a DAW, Studio One, and then transfer it to the Octatrack. Now, I love the Octatrack. You stick the USB into the computer, you tell it to go to USB disk mode, and it just pops up as an extra hard disk. You can easily categorize your stuff into folders. That makes it easy for you to just work on your stuff later. So that's what I do. I just create these tracks, kick, top loop, skank loop, I'll explain what that means, and then driving sound, which is percussive and melodic at the same time, and then lead, and then bass, and then probably that's it. That's 7 tracks out of the 8, because the 8th track on the octave track is my master track. The one MIDI track that I use for the Typhon is the Midi Amazing on the Electron octave track. I dare to say no. But for me, as a school musician, I'll probably play until I die. So sometimes it's better to not look at it from a musical point of view, but just look at like, what is the limitation here? Can I just make something really cool with the stuff that I have? And that's techno for you. It doesn't need to be overly musical, especially the type of techno we're making today. We're getting into that industrial kind of big room techno sound, not so much the melodic side of things. So if not anything else, I'd like to invite you to come over to my sparsest of sparse live setup for 2 box techno. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to the sparsest of setups. Now, the way I have set this up is looking at the octave track, it can do a few things. Looking at the it can do more than a few things. Looking at the Typhon, it can do more than a few things. Now, I love them, as I said before, because their sound is something that's very comparable and compatible in terms of the grit of that analog kind of feel. I love it. It's not something you'll probably hear if you just starting out, but it's something you get accustomed to on how certain boxes sound and they have their own signature. So for me, that's a big thing. When you're trying to make a setup, you like to put boxes together that are compatible. Now, not to be clickbaity, I have got an extra box here, if you can call it a box. Well, it's an effect, because I love this thing and I love the effects on it, but I don't like the fact that I constantly have to just like turn the knob to just get to them, right? It takes a little bit away from my fast-paced wanting to produce or wanting to just get into stuff. So what I've done is I've got just a black sky sitting here on which I can stick it on the desk. Now explaining quick fast what's happening. A few things you need to do, in my opinion, in my honest, humble opinion. I do believe that it's very important to make sure that if you are creating a sound that needs to sound well on a bigger sound system or a recording, have your kick come out separately. So out of the cue outputs, here my track one is the kick drum sitting right here. And it now comes out of a separate output as the loops are coming out of a stereo output right here. So essentially there's 3 cables coming out of the Octatrack. Now why am I using the kick mono? You have to understand that club sound systems are mono up to a certain degree. The bottom end of the club, the bass, everything that you feel is done in mono. It's to do with phasing issues. It's just going to pack a bigger punch. If you have ever sat behind your computer and you wonder what the mid side setting on any EQ was for, most people can put the one side into stereo and one side into mono. Is the fast explanation of it. Now what I've done is I've got my kick drum coming out of this cue output, and that's going to my channel right here. So the left blue fader is the kick that I can now manipulate either here or here, just turning it off, right? So that's 2 spaces. That doesn't matter because now I'm, you know, fairly close. But if you got a big setup, or sometimes you get to a place and it's very overcrowded, or there's a big mixer in the middle that I recently had, then it's easy that you've got your kick on your left hand and on your right hand, or whatever, or way you want to do. And also do with picking up the bass. Now, the 2 yellow faders here are the returns for the Strymon Black Sky sitting right here. The other ones are not being used, and then the stereo 1 is the Typhon that I can play on the Midi page right here, and that has a little bit of reverb here. Which was very crookedly panned, I might add. I'm going for a bit of a techno sound, that's already there. This is sending MIDI to this, obviously. Yeah, so this can be one of 3 things on the MIDI page, which means I'm talking about a trick section here. It can either be the tracks, so if you recorded something, you will see, hey, something is moving on that track right here. In chromatic mode, this becomes a keyboard, not Johann Sebastian Bach proof, but it's still a keyboard on which you can play certain things. Cool for me, because I tend to play a lot. I'm always trying to make it as musical as possible, but for this kind of techno that we're doing today, more big room, more industrial techno, you don't want to be playing too much musical information. It's all about the drive, the kicks, and how that works, and the bass. So, and then the last one is quick mute mode, which you also have on the MIDI side of things, because this thing can be chopped in half, the Octatrack. Half of it is, if I'm stopping this, audio, and half of it is MIDI. Now why can I not turn off this button number 8 here? That's because I have told the Octatrack to do a few things. I've told the Octatrack to be in studio mode, which means that now I've got separate outputs that I can get to, because usually the sounds will come out, not MIDI obviously, but there's MIDI is being taken care of right here, but the audio will come out of the main outs. But if you want to get to the Q outs, then it's fairly easy. You hold Q, and then all of a sudden this right indicator starts to move. If you don't touch anything and you move it, then the left indicator is moving. And then, but if you didn't know it, you wouldn't know that there are 2 channels. So this, turning the Q off, the left side is going to be the main out, and turning this down, the right side is going to be the Q out. And for the kick, as you can see, I'm only using the Q out over on that side. When you get to this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, you'll see that all these channels I've got right here It's only the first one that switches, right? Now, in terms of leveling and mixing, there's a few things you can also do. I can double click and go into the kick drum, edit the kick drum and look at the way it looks. Not that loud, it could be louder. Well, on the control page 1, I can set the gain, and I'll set the gain for the samples because rendering it out of the computer, getting into the Octatrack, there's something different. It relates differently. So working with analog equipment will do something with the levels. You have to now be more on your feet and think more like a sound engineer, live mixer, on how that is going to work. Now, I hear you think, shut up and get to the music. I will shut up and get to the music. Well, at least explain what is this. Now, the first track, I've only got 4. The first track that I have, I lay them out in banks. So bank A is my track 1. Yeah, on which I can do various different things. And I love the Octatrack for being versatile. You have got your scenes on which this thing tells the crossfader what to do. Well, I've mapped a few things out. Let's first listen to the kick drum. My first kick drum is this. And now that I'm not talking, I bet half of you are just going to steal it off the video. Go right ahead. This is the kick drum, right? Okay, what else have I got? I've got what I call a skyank head. It's a head that skyanks a little bit, has a little bit of groove. It does crazy stuff, not straight, but makes my groove up, yeah? So this is with a clap in it. So instantly, there's already groove here. The reverb is already embedded on the kick, mind you. So these things I do ahead of time, right? Now, then the straightforward heads are here on 3. So 1, 2, and 3 are pretty much always going to be the same. I might swap out 2 and 3, have the skyank head be on 3, and the straight head, which I call the aggro head, because it's pretty much aggressive. So I'm very colorful with my titles all the time, but this is the aggro head right here on 3, aggro top loop, yes. And then this is the skyank head, which does something else. This is higher in frequency, as you can hear. So this should be the track. If you cannot dance to this, you're either enable or you are just not liking this kind of music, which is okay. Okay, cool. That's the first 3 tracks done. I've only got 7 because track 8 is a master track. You cannot do anything with it. It's the master track. The only thing I can do is stick effects on there. So everything runs through track 8. So it limits me to just do whatever I want to do with 7 tracks. Okay, challenge. Now, track 4. This is muscle memory for me. I have to have something in the groove that is both musical and rhythmical at the same time, right? And that's this, right? An organ like this, a bit like a, yeah, you can call it a Robert Hood type organ, is what I call it. You know, it does a few, yeah, I call it a stab on one, right? So, I bet you were listening to it on the wrong groove, right? With these type of things, I avoid placing stuff on the first measure of the bar. So my first, I always start after, right? So that gives a little bit of a groove, gives a little bit of that old techno vibe. Now, with the skyank head, it sounds like this, like, you hear? So that clap accent, that's over here, that falls on that spot. Kick in. Now this, all nice and dandy, cool. If you want to make a sub break, something like, you know, throwing people off a little bit, and then you get in, go in, kick out, 1, 2, 3, and nice. Cool, this works, right? Yes, it does. Now, then it's time to place a little bit of ear candy, speaker hugging, we're not going home kind of sounds in there. And on track 5, that's, I'm liking that. I've got reverb sitting on this side and cut off. Listen to the kick. My kick is gone, not completely. This is also something I can do with one hand. Now, I'm trying to be a band with multiple people all by myself. So I need to just multitask my functions. So if I want to add reverb, something needs to go. And instead of just now taking out low end on the kick here, which is what I can do, means that I'm, not flying a plane. I'm trying to just like keep it simple, right? And the scenes are very important as well. Because what they can do is they can be something different all the time. I've got, well, 8 different, well, I've got more locations, but for the right scene B here, it goes from 9 up to 16, so there's 8 locations on which you can store different elements that the crossfader can do. Now I've got reverb and a snare drum here as well. And the snare drum is doing a little bit more of a reverb thingy, but listening to this, now it's only the snare drum, reverb, and back in. On track 7 is where my reverb is, where my snare drum is, which I've got buried. So basically I'm telling the crossfader, don't open up the volume unless I'm switching you to the right, which is simple. Cool. And then there's a bass line here. Now, it sounds okay because I made sure that when I was preparing the samples that I already made sure that it's in a ballpark. I'm not going to completely mix it and do a lot of stuff, but then again there's a bit of bit crush on here, there's sidechain on there so that it doesn't tamper with the kick. So, and I know that those two things work together with that bleepy thing. This could be a breakdown in itself, right? Kick out, kick in. So, if I want to just stay there and just like be all scientific lab guy, I can just like fiddle about on the thing, but just to make it more performance-like, you dance around, and you grab the fader and get it in, bam, bam, bam. Just, be a little bit more interactive. Now, how does this relate to the rest of my drums? Cool, I'm liking that. Cool, now, as I said, this thing can be chopped in half. The octatrack can be sewn in 2 parts because the MIDI part is the other side. That means, turn this off. This is a MIDI channel, this is a MIDI channel, this is a MIDI, this is a MIDI channel. So you see the bottom row where it says, that's MIDI. A stands for audio, so that's the top row there. I'm only using 1 MIDI channel. Why? Because I've got only 1 MIDI device right here. But essentially, you could have up to 8 different synthesizers or drum computers or whatever connected to the octatrack, and then you can address them here. And in quick mute mode, you just turn them on and off, right? Cool. Now what we're going to do is go in this MIDI page, I'm pressing MIDI here, I'm going to go and say chromatic, because now these things turn into a keyboard. As said, not Johann Sebastian Bach proof, but still, enough to play a little melody on and enough to have stupid Analog Kitchen not go overboard and play an overture of too much information, which is not what you want for this type of techno music, right? So stick to the plan and keep it simple. Yeah, this is the KISS routine. Keep it simple, stupid, is what I tell myself. So I've got a techno sound, and that techno sound I will now try and play with something that's already playing. Let's try this. Now, call and response is the first thing I'm thinking of, meaning I'd like to play something with a Typhon that complements what's already playing, but this thing is everywhere. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Usually it's something like that would be call and response to the letter of the call and response law, but that's not what we're going to do here. So I need to find a way to either fiddle sounds into this sequence or see if I can get something to go and play with it. Now let's see what we can do. Yeah, just simple. Bam. That's an accent to the end of the bar, right? Let's record it in. I'm so stupid with this. playing? Yes, it is playing. Cool. Okay, go to MIDI. 2, 3, nice. Cool. I made a mistake where I thought I was on the first channel, but I am on channel 8 actually, on the last channel, and that's not what I want. So I'm going to copy the MIDI track and place it here, paste. So I say to you, no, and I'm gonna go here, because come on, you know, why would you start on the last thing? Sorry, a little bit autistic here, but you know what I mean, so. Cool, so I've copied this track over, so we're here now, which means that taking it out of quick mute mode, chromatic mode, taking the MIDI out, nice. Nice. Cool. Getting in there, and I'm only going to use the last one. MIDI mode in there. Took a while, but I'm there. Okay, cool. Cool. Now that I've got that going, let's play some more drums. Now, I got that thing going, right? What I usually do is I play different things on the same MIDI channel, but then different channels here. So I'm going to just say, go into MIDI, say like, I like this track, but I'm going to copy this track over, so place it in record mode, copy MIDI track, go here, paste MIDI track. So as I think it works now. So when I'm playing it, right, so now it's playing the same. See, there's nothing here, right? And on track 10, does the same thing. But now I'm going to take that note out of track 10, in MIDI mode here, and now I'm going to play something different with it, right? Just so that we can have an alternate thing and work our magic. So get a little bit of the music going here. Cool. Get into MIDI mode, get into chromatic mode. Okay, I'm gonna know what I'm going again. What I'm gonna do. Cool. This is going to go higher. Let's practice. Cool, got it. Now it's running. Yeah. So now I got an extra thing going. Nice. Play some reverb on there. Take the kick out. Liking that. I'm not disliking it, let me put it that way. Cool, and now that is playing, I can say the quick mute mode, take this out, and then play my other thing. See? Bam. Go back to the other tracks. So now I can alternate between the things, right? If I copy this track over on all these 8 tracks, I can essentially play whatever I want to play, right? Which is cool. So, first track, saying record, copy this track to track 3, maybe track 4, and track 5, and track 6, and track 7, and track 8. So now I've got the same thing everywhere. So, which means that essentially going here, that's track 3, take it out, track 4, nothing playing here, 5, cool, let's see what we can do. So, now that I've got my tracks going, go to track 3 here, MIDI track. Again, another one. And maybe this one can be a little bit longer, so that we can think like, okay, let's play more stuff here, which means I'm going to tell the octave track to play a longer sequence. Record it in. Cool. Now we got a different, very cheesy. Pinball machine. So you get the idea, right? Cool. Now, I'm liking that. Now, you know, thinking of, can I do more stuff? Because now I've got a percussive sound coming from the Typhoon. I think it's a very nice synthesizer that is cool for sound design live on the fly as well, right? You can hear this. Tonal stuff. Man. You can even make like percussive drum sounds with it, right? So if I want to go to track 4 and turn off 3. Okay, let's see, because I did not copy the track here, so I'm going to copy the track, go over there, paste the MIDI track. And then this should also play. Cool. But what I'm going to do on track 4 is clear all the MIDI tracks so I can do my thingy. It's recording. 1, 2, 3, and. So why am I playing all these different things? Well, to perform live, you want to have different patterns because you can make different sounds with different patterns, and it forces you to go think like, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to run that, you know? Nice. Liking that, man, come on. Okay, cool. Now that we've got that going, let's wind it down and move to a different track. Because there's more tracks, obviously. One. So I'm going to turn off 4 and 5. Now we're in a different track, completely different atmosphere. Yeah, I'm liking that. So I've deliberately created something that can act as a transition. Now another thing that I never do is switch my bass drums up when I use a different track, but I've tried that concept today. So I've got a bass drum sitting here again. It can be a little louder, I think. Yep, nice. Nice. Okay. Another sound that I created with the Typhon. Yeah, I'm liking that. And that last part, because if you look at the Typhon here, it's only on one part of the page, right? You can see it. 1, 2, it doesn't advance. So what I've done is that last trick that is here. Ta-da-pa-da, click 15, it doesn't play, but it's going to play right now. 2, 3. There it is. So that's a conditional trick, meaning if I hold it and I'm holding this, you can see 1 divided by 8. So it's going to play every 8 bars. It will come in like 1, 2, 3. There it is. So that's things that I love to do. Also with the MIDI notes, to have conditional tricks going. And then what I've done, I think that there's a different pattern here. No, I did not play another thingy here, which is what I should do. What's not to like, right? So there you go, just a simple concept. You know, there's so many different things that I didn't touch upon. You can obviously, if you stick this thing into this, so the Typhon into the Octatrack, you can now record stuff in, you can chop stuff up. There's so many different things that you can do. I'm only touching the surface, but if you want to get going fast, then this could be an option, right? The Octatrack is not the most, it's not the cheapest machine in the world, but then again, I think you buy this thing for a lifetime because it does so many different things. It can be something different, because if you would buy, hey, looking at USB DJs, not slagging them, but you'll probably end up funneling yourself into the same direction if you are trying to get to a certain thing music-wise. Now, what does that mean? If you want to play melodic techno, there's only so much you can do, and you'll end up in the same spot, right? So who are you looking for competition? You're probably going to have to take out Botsin at some point. You have to go to take out Taylor Voss. You have to go to take out Artbot. You have to take out the Adana Twins. There's a few cats that do that sound, do it perfectly, been doing it for a while. You want to be that guy, or that girl, you need to just go in that direction. With this, you buy an Octatrack, you can be art bot as much as you can be a techno, a DJ, as much as you can be a progressive DJ, as much as you can be a house head. There's so many different things that you can do with it, and creativity is what I think the music industry has been lacking. There's a lot of formats, there's a lot of social media hype, and what I don't see is people being creative with their thing. And I understand it, you know, you're going to have to come out of the saloon guns blazing, trying to just like be everything at once. And I understand how hard that can be. If you're an aspiring artist and the record company or whoever is going to put out your music or help you promote it for that reason is going to tell you need to be a marketing engineer, you need to be a mixing engineer, an arranger, you need to be like a skilled musician, you need to be somebody who can write songs, you have to be whatever, you know? Looking at all these professions, they take a lifetime to perfect. You cannot be a marketing specialist or a mixing engineer, a mastering engineer, an arranger, songwriter, and you know, be also a performer. Those things are almost near to impossible. So I understand that a lot of people cut corners and use shortcuts to try and get there. But in the end of the day, mastering one machine and putting in an effort is going to give you an advantage, because a lot of people are too lazy because they are too busy trying to get there fast. And you should read a manual instead and try to get better at one thing that a lot of people are probably going to not do. And then when you get to the stage, all of a sudden you can bring a skill that people are, first of all, they didn't think that you had it in you because they were too focused on themselves in the first place. And second of all, you can just now do that thing that people know, but you can add a twist to it. You can DJ and take this thing with you. Come on, if I play this at some point, you know I mean business, right? I got another track that... come on. And I'll take this stuff with me, you know, it fits in a backpack. You know, you show up with your USBs, you're like, I've just got just a few effects that I want to use, and you just do it. And all of a sudden, you feel the versatility that you have in terms of you doing something different. Pontus Berg Ekman, Guido Grilke, Sprit, and David Sterry are patrons for this month, and they are following it on patreon.com/analogkitchen. Now, the magic is happening in Discord. It's not so much happening in Patreon, but Patreon, the good folks at Patreon have made a bridge into Discord, and that's where we all congregate. We've got a nice community of like-minded folks. We talk about so many different things, so come and join. We are welcoming you with open arms. We talk about all that kind of stuff. How to connect your stuff, what to bring, what is a big setup, what's a small setup. So there's so many different things that you can actually also find in there. Throw in your demos, and we do the dance carousel where we all create music together. So people that have never met each other before are making music together in a respectable way. There's a set of rules, but it's really cool. I think we're up to 18 people right now, I think. So yeah, so do join up. Again, patreon.com/analogkitchen. Now, if you made it this far into the video, you, sir, remember, an absolute superstar. Thank you. Let me know on how you work your magic, what your preferred boxes are, and why you chose them. Don't be a stranger. If you want to get a cool t-shirt like this, you can find it in my Fourth Wall shop. There's a link in the description below as well. Yeah, suggestions are more than welcome. The 20th is Kitchen Club in Holland. We are actually performing, and Grandmal is coming. Grandmal is one of the patrons. And we connected, and now he's coming over to play in Rotterdam, and I'm going over to Ireland to play, so cool. Now, again, thank you for watching. I'm Analog Kitchen. Peace.